Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Work in Progress. Today, we're going to be talking about side hustles, part-time jobs, and running your business. So for me, at least, I see a lot of people online saying that when you're starting your business or starting your freelance or whatever you want to call it, that you need to really go all in order to succeed. And today we want to talk about why that's not always feasible. Like you might have other commitments in your life, or just financially, it might not be a possibility. We weren't all born millionaires. So yeah. How are you today, Nikoleta?
Hi, I'm doing very good. We have finally some sunshine, and my energy is also here.
Amazing. So recently you've taken on a couple of side jobs, and I know you also have like another side project as well. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that, like how it works alongside your freelancing, what prompted you to, and yes.
This summer I decided to take up on a exciting side hustle, you may call it, or a gig, whatever. It was like a English camp, summer camp on the coast, and it was paid work for 1 week. And they were looking for teachers to teach kids English, and I was like quite interested in the position, not only because it's on the coast, Croatian coast, but also because it was like about teaching outdoors, thinking about different ways to engage students, aka 10-year-olds. And I was like, okay, this is a really good challenge, but also paid challenge, right?
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, sign me in. If you need anything, just let me know what I'm supposed to be like answering as a requirement, and I will prepare myself because I had like 3 weeks or something like that to get ready for the 1 week commitment. And
Mm.
it was amazing because I needed this money because as we all know, during the summer sometimes it happens that you have like this tumbleweed months or
Yeah.
weeks where there's no work, and everything is
Mm.
kind of slow. Even social media posting is not that active
Yeah.
anymore, and
Everyone's
you're
on the
like,
beach instead.
exactly, everybody's on the
Mm.
beach and or traveling around the world, and you're just like, okay, what should I do with my free time? And that was just one opportunity that I took, and I was like, yes, that's one thing I really would like to try.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, like for this moment, it makes a lot of sense to take some paid work, even if it's not related to UX, UI, web design, or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Because hey, paid work is paid work. Like that's what we all are in business for.
And you, how do you spend your summer or non not so high traffic days, for example, or weeks or months in your business? Do you have any side
Mhm.
hustles?
I don't currently, but when I did first start freelancing, I didn't go all in freelancing. Basically, I had a job that was quite flexible, that I could reduce the hours. So I started doing that part-time and then freelancing on the side of that. It was related to UX, but for a long, long time, even until because I still work with that client. So I've
Mhm.
transitioned from it being a part-time job into a freelance project, and we work together really well. I really enjoy working with them. It's not actually related to what I do in freelance. So I'm for freelancing, I just focus on websites. This
Mhm.
is app designs and like kind of more technology stuff. So it's not
Mhm.
exactly my main freelancing thing, but I do like working with them, and it brings a lot of stability basically. But yeah,
Mhm.
for a long time, until even like last year, I felt quite, I don't know if I should say guilty, but weird about having that part-time job or freelance job, however you want to
Mhm.
call it, because I felt
Mhm.
like I wasn't fully a freelancer, or I wasn't fully running my own business. I was only
Mhm.
part way doing
Mhm.
it, and then part as a stable job. And then at the end of last year, someone said I was expressing this to someone, and they said to me, oh, it doesn't really matter exactly how you're getting to like where you want to be, as long as you get there,
Mhm. Mhm.
and there's been a few times actually where this guilt has kind of made me want to quit this job.
Oh.
And I'm so happy that I haven't, because I think I wanted to quit like just before the pandemic. And
Uh-huh.
then I'm super happy that I didn't, because that was like a rocky period for everyone. And then I think
Yes.
also like the year after, I sort of tried to quit again. But yeah, I'm so thankful that I didn't, because it's brought me so much stability that it means that I don't have to worry so much.
Mhm.
about like getting projects or anything like that because I have
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
stability. And I recently was on a networking call and someone was
mm-hmm.
asking about this specific question, like if it's okay to take on a project that is not maybe not your ideal client or to take a part-time job. And someone answered and said basically that you should follow more like the legacy that you want to create, like follow the exact direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to design websites for eco businesses, then only do that. Don't like think about other things, which
Okay.
personally I kind of disagree with, because although it's important to follow where you need to go, there's
Mm-hmm.
also, you need to think about the financial aspect of it. Like
Yeah.
if you are not going to have money next month, then take on that project because that's going to make next month easier. Or, if you, for example, like I don't have like family that I can live with if I run out of money. So I'm like, you always have to be thinking about that. What do you
Yeah.
think about this idea?
Yeah, I completely agree that the Maslow pyramid has its order, and you need to be aware of that. And I also am a very into positive psychology, and I believe that everything finds its way, and whatever it's meant to come to you will come to you in certain timing. But it's really important that you take care of yourself and have something secure. And
Yeah,
I agree with both sides, to be honest. I
yeah,
agree that you should follow and stay focused and think about the legacy and think about the big picture you have in your mind. But to get to
yeah.
that big picture, you need to save those money or accumulate this experience to get there into, for example, buy the equipment that will help you to get
Yeah,
there, or sign up for a course in 2 months with the money that you will get from that non-legacy project, right? So
exactly.
in terms of investment and utilizing and choosing what is better in that moment, you just have to make the assessment and decide for yourself, is this going to help me, or is it going to be useful for me, and take the best out of it, legacy or not. I think it's just personal opinion what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's important to think about like if the time and energy that you spend on this project is going to be
Mm,
worth, like if it's a really bad project and it's going to take up like 3 or 4 months and drain you, then it's not a good idea.
mhm.
Even if it is like towards your legacy, or it's going to make you like $1 million or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's good to think of all aspects.
The balance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, for example, I have another side hustle that I have like for many years now. I used to do interpretation since I was this little, and
Oh,
then it got into translation, and then I started like as a freelance contractor for a local agency here in Zagreb. And from time to time, they have like the big corporation contract or some kind of judicial documents that need translation from English to Bulgarian or other way around. And I help them with that. And that's non-legacy work, but it's not draining. It's quite interesting because I learn also a lot of creation on the way. And
yeah,
I'm also very curious about different topics and segments in the business and in the industry. And you never know
yeah.
what idea might come out of this little side project that you already have, because they poke your brain and they make you think. And it's just like the more the better for me, because I really like learning and I'm quite curious. So this job for me is non-legacy, well paid, and feeds my creativity, not, but maybe my curiosity. So for me,
Yeah,
if you have such a side hustle or freelance gig job, whatever, I think you should take advantage of it if you have that skill or kind of motivation to do something on a side. So
yeah. No,
yeah,
I think
by all
that's such a
means.
good point. Yeah, because I know you, for example, are quite like multi-passionate. You're very interested in many things and like you have a lot of different projects going along. So you're always starting something new. But I
Yeah.
think it's super important to look at like the non maybe financial aspects of the project, other projects. For
Mhm.
example, with this part-time job, one of the reasons why I do like it, it's in the financial industry. So first of
Mhm.
all, it's like financial technology, basically. So
Mhm.
first of all, I have like access to learning about the finance industry that I would not have normally, you know, like I'm actually working with people who have been, you know, working in finance for like years and years, and just like being
Yeah.
able to talk to them. I would have
Yeah.
never have met them like in my private life.
No.
And the second thing is I work quite closely with a team of developers who are also really experienced, who I
Mm.
would never have spoken to with like other freelance projects. So
Mm.
even though it's not, I guess the type of development that they do is not really relevant to me as a web designer,
Mm.
but hey, it's knowledge that like I'm not
Yeah.
going to learn this anywhere else. Like I couldn't like do a YouTube video to find this stuff. And I
Yeah.
think just being in that industry has given me access to so much knowledge, which is like
Experience.
invaluable. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just even though it's not maybe relevant, but hey, knowledge is knowledge, no?
You never know what
Yeah,
kind of
that's true.
experience is going to be transferable later on in your career. You never know what is actually useful. Same thing with
Yeah.
college. You learn all of the things and you're like, when I'm going to use that? And one day, one specific day in your life, it will happen that that thing will be useful. And you'll be like, oh my God, this was such a
Yeah.
helpful topic, right? This
That's
happened
true.
to
I
me
remember,
twice.
yeah, for me also, like in high school, I remember doing kind of algebra and being like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck is this? You know, like why am I doing it? And now when I'm doing like my taxes and like I have like a projected income sort of Excel
Mm-hmm.
sheet where like I need this and like I need to understand these calculations and stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
20 years later, it's
Yeah,
useful.
absolutely. Same with the statistics. When other people like complain that they don't understand statistics and
Mm,
how this data is created, and I'm like, am I better than anyone? You know that
yeah.
meme? It's like because you know that niche topic and you have kind of had a little bit more interest in something specific when you were studying, and it's like, wow, I know this thing, and it's actually easier for me than for someone else, and it's just like
Mm.
so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, you never know when knowledge will help you.
Exactly.
But I think it's really interesting talking about kind of these side hustles. So I
Mm-hmm.
think we're probably quite different in that like for me to, when I sort of start something new or like a side hustle, for example, I've thought about selling like templates or stuff like this. And just like it takes me so long to think about it and so long to start it that for me, at least at this moment, it's not really worth it to put my energy in that. It's
Yeah.
more worth it to focus on client work, just because it would take me too long to like sort all that shit out. But like you, on the other hand, you have like many things going along, and you can still, I guess, like you think differently about how that is. So how do you manage having like many projects or side hustles?
Well, it's like the plants. You decide when to water them and how much. It's like basically, yeah, I have like, for example, 3, 4 cactuses. They manage
Mm,
themselves. They're basically the metaphor of a side hustle. And for
yeah.
example, I have like few things that are as a side hustles, but it depends how much effort you put in them. It's just like for some
Mm,
of them, I will be very vague in this explanation because none
yeah.
of them are actual side hustle. They're just something that I planted but never have grown.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Hmm.
giving examples because they're not relevant as side hustle. They're
Okay.
something that I have planted as interest and they're not growing
Hmm.
still. So for what I wanted to say is that whenever I water those side hustles and I have
Mm,
the inspiration, the energy and motivation to create something towards those side hustles, they are growing
yeah.
and they're working. But as you said, something that I also started that I wasn't passionate about that much,
Mm,
and I just wanted to try and see if it works. The planners, the templates, everything that we hear about online. I
yeah.
also tried it and had difficult time to go about it because I wasn't that passionate about it and it wasn't relevant for me at that time. Same things when you pick up a book and it's not interesting to you and you just close it and leave it to stay somewhere. So
Yeah.
if you pick a side hustle, for me, it has to be really relevant at that moment and I have to be passionate and interested about it so I can invest time and energy and research and start doing more and more so I can see some results. And of course,
Mm,
there is some post-production work around that. After you create that side hustle, being like digital product or whatnot, you have to sell
yeah.
it. That's also part of
Mm,
the side hustle that nobody tells you about. out, or they do, but
Yeah.
you forget. So you create, but you have to also sell, and also the demand and what you give, it has to align. So make
Yeah,
sure you do something that someone wants, not something that nobody wants. So
exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's really important, because I see so many Instagram posts, like these reels when they're like,
yeah.
5 ways to get remote, no, what's it called? Passive income, sorry. Like
Mm,
5 super easy passive income ways. And it's like, oh, you just go to Canva and download a template and then you sell it on Etsy.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, that's super easy. But there's like 50,000 of these fucking templates on Etsy. Then you
Yeah.
need to actually, you can't just put it
And
on
doubt.
Etsy and expect to make $1 million. So it's
Yeah.
not passive straight away. Like maybe it would
Mm-mm.
be, but you need to put in a lot of work in order to make you money.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
takes time, effort, and strategy, because without those, you just have something there, but nobody can see or buy or get use of it. So you just have to be really thoughtful when you think about side hustle, like
Yeah.
why, to whom, and how much. You have to think about
Hmm.
all those questions, because just creating for the sake of it and just to get the money doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. I think which we talk about quite a bit, like in other
Mm-hmm.
episodes, that
Yeah.
having money as like your sole focus is
Mm-hmm.
money is super important. It needs to be a focus in your business. But if it's
Yeah.
the only thing, like if you get distracted by these Instagram posts, like, make easy passive income, it
Yeah.
probably won't work. You need to be thinking of like your business as a whole. And as you say, like what makes sense, what people actually want, instead of just
Yeah.
like, I want to make easy money in 5 minutes.
Yes. And
Because you probably won't.
we see that in web design as well, because
Mm,
whenever people create products and services that users don't want, there are no sales. And whatever you
mm,
do with the website or the digital product, it will not sell because it doesn't solve a problem, or it
yeah.
doesn't reach the audience, or it's literally visible that it's a cash grab and it's nothing like actually feasible. So
Mm,
have that in
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, no, very true.
And for today's episode takeaways, one of our advice will be to focus on your skills and your passions when you create side hustles, or stay completely focused on your main business and your main plan in terms of your own business. And if you are passionate about it, it will obviously work out. Will work out in the future. So don't stress about it.
Yeah,
And you, Kat,
definitely.
what you will say?
For me, it's definitely about like, don't feel guilty if you do need to take a part-time job. It doesn't mean that like you failed as a business owner or a freelancer if, as you say, you have a few months that are dry and you need to take that part-time job. I think there's a lot of like weird feelings around money that like, hey, once you started as a freelancer, you need to be making this like 5-10K months or whatever. Like, no, it's okay. Like you're going to start off, you might not make a lot for a while. Don't
Great
feel
topic.
guilty about that. Like get your side job, get a part-time job if you need to, because that's going to then, first of all, you're going to feel more like mentally stable. You'll be able to buy like the groceries that you need. You can
Mm-hmm.
afford to buy avocados maybe.
Yeah.
When you're on, I think it's really important that when you're on sales calls, you don't
Mm-hmm.
sound desperate. If
Mm-hmm.
the client is saying, oh, I'm not sure, and you're like, please, I need the money, obviously that's
Mm-hmm.
not a good look. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing is that if then a client wants to, how do you say, like if you say 2,000 euros and they're like, oh, I'll pay you 800,
Uh-huh.
that
To
then
bid,
is not going to be, yeah,
negotiate.
like
Yeah.
exactly. If they try and cheap you quite a lot,
Mm-hmm.
if you have that part-time job, you won't
Mm-hmm.
need to like cheapen your price so much. You'll be stable, like feel stable enough to say like, no, I'm not going to work for less than I'm worth,
Yeah.
because
Just,
you'll be able to financially. So yeah, I think just don't feel bad about like what you need to do in order to stay afloat, because that's like the
mm-hmm.
most important thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
stay your ground. Whatever it happens, we
Mm.
don't kind of I personally don't believe in fake it until you make it thing, but
Mm,
stand your ground and do your best, and everything will
yeah.
work out for you. Just believe that whatever is meant to come to you will come to you. It's a bit of positive psychology there.
No, but I think it definitely works. Like once you open like your mind and everything, like stuff comes, like stuff will get into, like if you keep moving forward, stuff will fall into place, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Just don't do the same thing over and over again. Keep your
Yeah.
mind open and try to expand your vision and see what is out there.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so we'd like to know from all of our listeners, what do you think about this topic? Did you start your business with a side job or did you go all in? Do you have side hustles?
Yeah, if you can share some side hustles that were profitable for you or very, very enjoyable or something that you learned from a side hustle, please let us know in the comments in social media like Instagram, YouTube, wherever you may find us.
Yeah. And we'll speak to you next time. See you
Bye!
later. Bye.